Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, cyclocross takes over Iowa City.
And later, Monarch Butterfly population decrease. Find out what you can do to help.
The Iowa football team struggled this weekend in their home game against North Texas.
And the Hawkeyes softball team showed promise as it took on Des Moines Area Community College in a fall exhibition game. We'll have more in sports.
Will we finally see temperatures cool down? I'll tell you more in weather coming up.
All that and more coming your way.
Daily Iowan TV starts now.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Alexis Tansey.
And I'm Ethan Gutstein.
A shooting occurred in the southeast quadrant of Cedar Rapids on Saturday evening, leaving one man dead and one woman hospitalized. According to a police department news release, officers were called to the scene at 8:24 p.m. to find two victims that had suffered from gunshot wounds. The victims' names will not be released until the families have been notified. Police say the shooting does not appear to be random, but they will not disclose any further details at this point. The investigation is ongoing as no arrests have occurred at this time.
This weekend, 1,600 cyclists pedaled into Iowa City, who hosted the Cyclocross World Cup for the second consecutive year. The race was televised in over 20 countries and had between 8 and 10 million viewers, which is roughly the same number of people that watched last year's World Series game. The race was the result of months of planning and over 350 volunteers. Cyclists from around the world come to compete for the Cup, and for the past 2 years, they've walked away complimenting the challenging course.
It's a tough course with a lot of obstacles. What was the toughest one?
I think it was Mount Crumpet for me, but it's because last year there was some mud, I guess, and they had to run up there, and the footsteps were still in it, so it was very difficult to maintain a good pace to get to the top.
European domination was the theme of this year's competition. The top American, Carrie Werner, finished 3 minutes behind Van der Poel.
The Trump administration began discussing a new travel ban to replace its original executive order. This discussion comes after the recent terrorist attacks in London, in which a bomb went off on an underground train, injuring 30 people. President Trump took to Twitter calling for a, quote, larger, tougher, and more specific travel ban. He also called for shutting down terrorist groups' use of the internet for recruitment. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments on the travel ban case early next month.
Iowa City Council is set to vote on an amendment on Tuesday that could expand Iowa City's smoking ban to include all city parks. The ban would prohibit the use of tobacco products, electronic cigarettes, and chewing tobacco. Smoking is already banned in several Iowa City parks, but smokeless tobacco is not prohibited anywhere as of now. Keep watching Daily Iowan TV to stay up to date with how the council votes on this ban. Well, Alexis, I don't know about you, but this weekend sure was hot.
I know, I didn't expect it to be this hot at a September football game this weekend, but let's toss it over to Susanna in the weather studio to see if the rest of the week will be this hot too.
That's right, Alexis. We saw some unusually high temperatures for September over the weekend, but today the high will only reach 71 degrees. This afternoon, there's a possibility for some thunderstorms that will last late into the evening hours. On Tuesday, we can expect to see partially cloudy skies and the high increasing to 85 degrees. Now let's take a look at our 5-day extended forecast. The rest of the week, we can expect to see temperatures looking similar to last week's, in the mid to upper 80s and lower 90s. Thursday, you'll want to be sure to dress extra cool and drink plenty of water, as we're looking at a high reaching 92 degrees. Finally, on Sunday, we will end the weekend with partially cloudy skies and a low of 64 degrees. And we have an important update on Tropical Storm Maria, which has reached hurricane status as of Sunday night, and we are expected to hit the Caribbean islands by that time. Atmospheric conditions are intensifying in the Atlantic Ocean for Maria to become a possible Category 3 or 4 hurricane by the time it reaches the extreme northwestern Caribbean Sea. At that point, Maria's projected path of impact is on Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Maria is expected to continue in a path towards the U.S. East Coast. That's all we have for you for this update. Back to you.
One renowned species of butterfly is facing immediate danger, but it can still be saved. Daily Iowan TV reporter Christopher Cervantes reports with more.
Despite the abundance of plant life in Iowa City, there is one site that has been slowly dwindling for the past 10 years. Monarch Butterflies, who were once prosperous, have had their population dwindled down by 90%. With other species of butterflies still in the area, just why exactly is the monarch butterfly starting to disappear? Tammy Mildstein is an assistant professor of biology at Cornell College. She has studied extensively in this field and knows the answer.
The guess was it was the decline in milkweed.
Milkweed is the main source of food for both monarch larvae and adults. It also acts as both a home and a nursery for the species. These plants have been damaged by the use of herbicides as well as habitat destruction. This is a fact that proves to be detrimental, especially during breeding season.
Another probable cause of the decline of monarchs would be the neonicotinoids that are used by farmers in this area.
Currently, conservation efforts are being made across the continent, from California to Canada. Iowa City is doing its part as well by having the second annual Monarch Festival in this month, where the city will be educated on how they can save the population. Reporting from downtown Iowa City, this is Christopher Cervantes, Daily Iowan TV.
Stay tuned with us and with the Daily Iowan for further coverage. This weekend, you may have noticed people rappelling over the side of Hotel Vitro in downtown Iowa City. The event was in part of a fundraiser for the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Eastern Iowa and the Western Illinois region. Those who raised $1,000 or more for the charity had their chance to rappel over the 13-story hotel. In total, there were over 60 participants in the two-day Over the Edge event. Iowa women's basketball coach Lisa Bluter even got a chance to take a swing at climbing on Hotel Vitro.
For the Ronald McDonald House, we support, Dave and I support the Ronald McDonald House. I think it's an important part of the University of Iowa, our campus, and having the Ronald McDonald House right there in Carver Hawkeye Arena parking lot. Every time I come to work or leave work, I see families and kids coming into that building and understand how lucky we are. And so this is a way for me to bring awareness to the Ronald McDonald House on our campus and hopefully to raise a little bit of money.
For more information on the Over the Edge event, check out the story in Daily Iowan's newspaper.
Well, Ethan, I know Iowa sports had a busy weekend with several events going on.
I know, right? I was so focused on Iowa football that I didn't have a chance to see how Iowa volleyball did in their tournament. Let's toss it over to Alec and Will in the sports studio.
Thanks, guys. The Iowa volleyball team traveled to Washington, D.C. this weekend for the American Volleyball Classic. The Hawks faced Howard on Friday, coming out on top, downing the Bison 3-1.
Then on Saturday, Iowa took on host American University, who they swept in 3 sets in their final game of the tournament. The Hawkeyes played Princeton University, breaking out the broom and dustpan yet again for another 3-set sweep.
The Hawks will open up Big Ten play against Rutgers in volleyball this Friday in New Jersey. The Iowa field hockey team split a 2-game road trip this weekend. The Hawks took on number 2 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions on Friday, losing 3-0.
And then on Sunday, the team traveled to the city of brotherly love to take on Pennsylvania, winning that game 3-2.
In this weekend's game against North Texas, the Mean Green only had the ball for 19 minutes, and a big reason for that was the Iowa defense. Daily Iowan TV's Lucy Roding has more.
Iowa football is now 3 games into their season, and there has been one constant in each game, starting slow. Iowa has started each game at a deficit, but in the first 2 weeks, the offense put them back on top. However, against North Texas, it was the defense. But it didn't start that way. North Texas came out and scored 2 touchdowns and went into halftime with the lead.
At halftime, it was more of an attitude change. We kind of had to look ourselves in the mirror and just decide, are we going to ride the wave? Are we going to be up and down all year? Or are we going to play Iowa football?
And once the third quarter began, the tough, physical Iowa defense that hasn't been seen since the Wyoming game made an appearance, shutting out North Texas in the second half.
I think the main difference was guys just focusing in, and we got a little bit lax in the first half, and we just got to focus on the details, do our job, and execute, and the game will come our way.
I think it just, coming with a fresh mind in the second half, forgetting about the first half, forgetting about what happened. You can't fix it now. It's already happened. It's in the past. But just moving on.
A tough team. They came out and they played well. They came out swinging in the first half, and they were fighting the whole game. And it just came down to us executing. You got to forget about the other team, and sometimes worry about yourself.
The one thing about this team, I guess we're 3 for 3 for digging holes. We're pretty good at that right now. But these guys fight through it and they play through it. And I trace that right back to January. The attitude's been really good with this football team. team since January. The thing I'm happy about is I know we can improve a lot more, but I'd be a little happier if we picked up the pace on that one. Hopefully we're going to be able to do that.
Iowa will not be able to afford to dig a hole next week as the reigning Big Ten champs, the Penn State Nittany Lions, come to town. Reporting on Iowa football, this has been Lucy Rodine for Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Penn State comes in with potential Heisman winner Saquon Barkley, so it should be fun to see how the Hawkeye defense handles him.
Well, fun is one way to put it. It may be also painful, as that's going to be a national game, so for the whole country to see, the Iowa defense may not look too good.
Yeah, Wyoming, North Texas, not exactly the Penn States of football.
Well, another team that was challenged this weekend was Iowa softball. The team took the field for the first time in their fall exhibition game against Des Moines Area Community College.
We went out to Bob Pearl Field to see them in action. Here's what they had to say after the game.
I think for our first outing, we had a lot of newbies on the field. We started a little slow, and we eventually picked up the speed. In the circle, Ducey attacked early, and that's kind of been our focus so far this fall, is attack early, often, and get out of an inning.
With these games, it's just really applying what we're working on in practice and working through some kinks in the game, just sticking to the process and just getting better every time, every opportunity that we have out here.
It was awesome. I mean, we were all raring to get back out there, and we've been practicing all spring or all fall, and it was awesome to get back out there with the team and after all those practices we've had.
We've got little things we've got to continue to work on. We're only 3 weeks into practice, attacking the ball defensively, communicating a little bit more on the infield and the outfield, make sure bags are covered, and then offensively on the bases, continue to be aggressive base runners.
The Hawks defeated DMAC 6-1 in the exhibition game that went a full 9 innings.
The Hawks will take the field once again this Friday against Kirkwood Community College at Bob Pearl Field. That game will be underway at 5 p.m.
Tomorrow, we'll have an update on Iowa's injury-plagued running back squad.
And I sat down with the Hawkeye soccer coaches. We'll have those interviews tomorrow.
And be sure to tune into our special segments every weeknight. Tonight, Lucy Rodine and Natalie Aquitelli recap the college football weekend around the Big Ten. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, guys. The UI has recently moved up in the rankings of the nation's best public universities published by U.S. News and World Report. This is 2 spots higher than last year's ranking. The magazine also ranked UI Tippy College of Business 31 among all public and private universities, and the UI College of Engineering 34 among public universities with doctoral programs. These rankings also topped last year's rankings. And that wraps up this Monday morning edition of Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check out our website, dailyiowan.com, for all the latest news between now and Friday.
Also, don't forget to pick up your paper copy of the Daily Iowan on newsstands. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Alexis Tansey.
And I'm Ethan Gutstein. Have a great day, Iowa City.
Breaking down barriers long before we knew they existed. Dottie Ray, a revolutionary trailblazer and Iowa City radio personality for over 50 years. Foundation builder for journalists. Please join us in sharing Dottie Ray's story on the big screen. After the showing, a panel discussion about Dottie's life will follow. It's all part of Habitat for Humanity's She Built the Future. For more information, please contact Habitat for Humanity.